Okay guys, I need you to sit down for this one, because what I'm about to tell you is going to make you so grossed out that you might actually throw up a little bit in your mouth. See, you're sick in medieval times, right? So you go to the doctor for help. But instead of asking you questions or checking your temperature, the doctor asks you to pee in a cup, and then, oh my God, I can barely say this. He takes a sip of it. He literally drinks your pee to figure out what's wrong with you. And that's not even the worst part. Some medieval people actually believed that drinking their own pee every single day would keep them healthy and cure diseases. I'm not even kidding you guys. This really happened for hundreds and hundreds of years. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make videos about the most disgusting and shocking things from history that will make you realize how lucky we are to live in modern times. And trust me, today's topic is probably the grossest one I've ever covered. Before we discuss into this absolutely nasty medieval medical practice, please smash that like button if you want to see more gross historical facts. And don't forget to subscribe, because I promise you'll learn something today that will make you appreciate modern doctors so much more. And seriously, stick around until the end, because I'm going to tell you about a medieval queen who drank pee for 20 years thinking it would make her live forever. Alright, let's talk about why medieval people thought drinking pee was good medicine. The thing that's going to absolutely blow your mind. Medieval people didn't just randomly decide that pee was medicine. They actually had what they thought were really good scientific reasons for believing this. First of all, medieval doctors noticed that pee came out of your body, so they figured it must contain all the important stuff that was happening inside you. They thought your pee was basically a liquid report card showing how healthy you were on the inside. They called pee liquid gold because they believed it contained magical healing powers that could cure almost anything. And I'm not talking about just a few crazy people. This was taught in medical schools. Smart doctors who went to university for years genuinely believed that pee was one of the most powerful medicines in the world. Medieval medical books actually had charts showing different colors of pee and what diseases each color meant. If your pee was too yellow, they'd say you had one disease. If it was too clear, that meant something else was wrong. And if it was dark or cloudy, that was supposedly a sign of really serious illness. But here's where it gets really weird. They didn't just look at the pee, they had to taste it too. Medieval doctors were trained to identify diseases by how pee tasted. Sweet pee meant you had diabetes, bitter pee meant liver problems, and salty pee meant kidney issues. Can you imagine going to medical school and having to learn how to taste different types of pee? And get this, some doctors became famous for being really good pee tasters. People would travel from far away just to have a specific doctor taste their pee, because he was known as the best pee diagnostician in the region. That was actually a thing people bragged about. The craziest part is that sometimes this actually worked a little bit. Not because pee is magic, but because there really are signs of disease in urine that modern doctors still check for today. Diabetic pee really is sweet because of all the sugar in it, and kidney disease really does change how pee looks and smells. So medieval doctors accidentally got some things right, which just made them believe even more that pee was magical medicine. Medieval people also thought that since pee came from inside your body, drinking it would put all those good nutrients back into you. It's like they thought your body was a recycling system, and drinking your own pee was just reusing all the good stuff instead of wasting it. They had this idea that your body only got rid of pee because it had too much good stuff, not because pee was waste that needed to be thrown away. So they thought, why throw away all these good nutrients when we could just drink them again? Alright guys, this is where things get really disgusting. So if you're eating anything right now, maybe put it down for a few minutes. The most common urine therapy was drinking your own pee first thing in the morning when you woke up. Medieval doctors said morning pee was the most powerful because it had been sitting in your body all night, collecting all the good healing stuff. People would literally keep a cup next to their bed, pee in it when they woke up, and then drink it down like it was orange juice. They thought this would prevent diseases, give them more energy, and help them live longer. Some people did this every single day for their entire lives. But wait, it gets so much worse. Some medieval doctors thought that aged pee was even better than fresh pee. They would collect pee in jars and let it sit for weeks, or even months until it got all moldy and gross, and then they'd give it to patients as medicine. They called this aged urine and charged extra money for it, because they said the longer it sat, the more powerful the medicine became. Can you imagine drinking pee that had been sitting in a jar for months? The smell alone would probably make you pass out. Some medieval people thought that if drinking pee was good for the inside of your body, then bathing in pee would be good for your skin. So they would fill up bathtubs with pee and soak in it for hours, thinking it would cure skin diseases and make them look younger. Rich people would even hire servants whose only job was to collect pee from healthy young people, because they believed that pee from young, healthy people was more powerful than old people's pee. Imagine having that job on your resume. This one is absolutely horrifying. Medieval doctors used to put drops of pee directly into people's eyes to cure blindness and eye infections. They thought that since pee was sterile when it came out of the body, it would clean out infected eyes and help people see better. Of course, putting pee in your eyes would probably just make eye infections way worse. But people were so desperate to see that they'd try anything. Medieval soldiers used to pee on their battle wounds because they thought it would prevent infection and help them heal faster. Imagine being injured in a sword fight and having your fellow soldiers pee all over your cuts. They genuinely believed this was good first aid. This one is really weird. Some medieval people thought that baby pee was the most powerful medicine of all because babies were pure and hadn't been contaminated by adult diseases yet. So they would collect pee from babies and give it to really sick adults, thinking it would cure them. Remember how I said doctors would taste pee to diagnose diseases? Well, some doctors would taste pee from multiple patients in one day. They'd have a whole line of sick people with cups of pee, and the doctor would go down the line, tasting each one, and giving diagnoses based on the flavor. Can you imagine being patient number 20 in that line, knowing the doctor had already tasted 19 other people's pee before getting to yours, and they didn't even brush their teeth between patients? Some medieval doctors would mix pee with other gross things like blood, herbs, or even animal parts to make special medicine cocktails. They thought combining pee with other ingredients would make it even more powerful. The most popular mixture was pee mixed with wine, because they figured the alcohol would make the medicine work faster. So people would literally be drinking pee wine thinking it was helping them get better. Now you're probably wondering, if drinking pee is so gross and doesn't actually cure diseases, why did medieval people keep doing it for so long? Well, there are actually some pretty interesting reasons why people thought urine therapy was working. First of all, sometimes people really did feel better after drinking pee, but not because the pee was actually medicine. It's called the placebo effect, When you believe something will help you, sometimes you actually do feel better just because you expect to. So, when people drank their morning pee thinking it would give them energy and prevent disease, sometimes they really did feel more energetic and healthy. But it was all in their heads, not because of the pee. Here's something funny. Some people who were drinking pee every day were actually just staying more hydrated than other people. If you're drinking extra liquid every morning, even if it's gross pee, you're going to feel more awake and energetic than someone who's dehydrated. Medieval people didn't really understand the importance of drinking enough water, so people who were doing urine therapy were accidentally drinking more fluids, which actually did make them feel a little bit better. A lot of times, people would start drinking pee when they felt sick, and then they'd get better naturally as their body fought off whatever illness they had. But they'd give credit to the pee instead of realizing their body healed itself. It's like if you started eating ice cream every day when you had a cold, and then you got better from the cold naturally. You might think the ice cream cured you, even though your body was just doing what it normally does to fight off viruses. Medieval people really wanted to believe that urine therapy worked, so they'd focus on any small improvement and ignore anything that got worse. If someone drank pee for a month and their headaches went away, but their stomach started hurting, they'd say the pee cured my headaches and ignore the new stomach problems. Once urine therapy became popular, there was a lot of social pressure to keep doing it, even if it wasn't working. If everyone in your town was drinking pee and claiming it made them healthier, you'd probably feel weird admitting that it wasn't helping you. Plus, if you spent money on aged pee medicine or special pee treatments, you'd want to believe it was working, so you didn't feel like you wasted your money. Very rarely, urine therapy might have accidentally helped someone in a weird way. Like, if someone had a minor skin infection and they put fresh pee on it, the salt in the pee might have helped dry out the infection a tiny bit. But medieval people would take these 1 in a million accidents and use them as proof that pee was magical medicine for everything. Okay guys, now I'm going to tell you some absolutely insane real stories about urine therapy that were actually recorded in medieval history books. These are so crazy you're going to think I'm making them up, but I promise these all really happened. There was this medieval queen who was so obsessed with staying young and beautiful that she drank a cup of fresh pee every single morning for 20 years. She had servants whose job was to collect the freshest, cleanest pee from young, healthy girls in the castle, because she believed that drinking young people's pee would keep her looking young too. The crazy part is that she lived to be pretty old for medieval times, so everyone thought her pee drinking routine was the reason she stayed healthy. Of course, it was probably just because she was rich and had access to good food and medical care, but people gave all the credit to the pee. There was this one medieval doctor who became super famous across all of Europe because he could supposedly diagnose any disease just by tasting someone's pee. People would travel for weeks just to have him taste their pee and tell them what was wrong. He claimed he could tell the difference between over 50 different diseases just by the taste, smell, and color of pee. Kings and queens would pay him huge amounts of money to be their personal pee-tasting doctor. He got so rich from this that he bought a castle and had servants to bring him samples of pee from all over the kingdom. In one medieval town, they actually built a public fountain that dispensed different types of aged pee instead of water. People would bring their own cups and fill them up with whatever type of pee medicine they needed. They had different spouts for different ages of pee: fresh pee, 1 week old pee, 1 month old pee, and super-aged pee that had been sitting for over a year. Can you imagine walking through a town square and seeing people lined up at a pee fountain like it was a Starbucks? There was this medieval army that was famous for never getting sick during long battles, and their secret was that every soldier had to drink a cup of pee every morning before fighting. The army commander believed this made his soldiers stronger and more resistant to diseases. Other armies started copying this practice because they heard it made soldiers invincible. Imagine being a medieval soldier and having to wake up every day and drink pee before going into battle. There was actually a guy who made a living traveling from town to town selling different types of pee medicine. He had a cart with barrels of aged pee, fresh pee, baby pee, and even pee from animals that he claimed had special healing powers. He would set up in the town square like a regular merchant, but instead of selling food or clothes, he was selling cups of different people's pee. He had a whole price list. Baby pee was the most expensive, then young woman pee, then healthy man pee, and old people pee was the cheapest. One medieval medical book claimed that drinking pee could cure over 100 different diseases, including headaches, stomachaches, skin problems, eye infections, broken bones, and even sadness. The book had detailed instructions for how much pee to drink for each disease and what time of day to drink it. The author claimed he had personally tested pee medicine on thousands of patients and had a 90% success rate. Of course, he was probably just making all this up, but people believed him and followed his pee drinking instructions for centuries. So there you have it, guys, the absolutely disgusting world of medieval urine therapy. Can you believe that for hundreds of years, people genuinely thought that drinking pee was good medicine? The craziest part is that this wasn't just some weird thing that a few crazy people did. This was mainstream medical practice taught in universities and used by the smartest doctors of the time. From queens drinking pee to stay young, to armies drinking pee to stay strong, to doctors making their living by tasting pee, this was everywhere in medieval society. It just shows how much we still didn't understand about the human body and medicine back then. Today we know that pee is waste that our bodies need to get rid of, not magic medicine that we should be drinking. And thank goodness we have real doctors who use actual science instead of tasting our pee to figure out what's wrong with us. So the next time you complain about having to give a urine sample at the doctor's office, just remember, at least your doctor isn't going to drink it. And at least nobody's trying to convince you that drinking your own pee every morning will make you live forever. If you enjoyed learning about this absolutely revolting piece of medical history, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more gross and shocking historical facts. And drop a comment below. Would you rather drink aged pee medicine or have a medieval doctor taste your pee to diagnose you? Both options are pretty horrible. Also, if you want to see more videos about disgusting medieval medical practices, check out my playlist where I talk about bloodletting, eating human body parts as medicine, and other medieval medical nightmares that will make you so grateful for modern healthcare. Thanks for watching, and remember, never trust anyone who tells you that drinking pee is good for your health. I'll see you guys in the next historically horrifying video.